Hola amigos, and welcome back to another episode of La Vida Verde podcast. I'm your host, Matthew Human, here at Finca Vida Verde. And today, my guest is the one and only DTO, Dave the Organism, and we'll find out why. DTO is a former school teacher. He's got a master's in educational technology. He is an award-winning yoga musician, yoga music producer. He is the co-founder of Embody Wellness and Retreat Center. He also has a marketing company. This guy's a jack of all trades. We're going to have a great conversation. We hope you enjoy. DTO, welcome to La Vida Verde podcast.
Gracias, hermano. Humano, organismo. Humano,
Dave
organismo.
the Organism.
Yes.
Let's just go ahead straight off the bat and just tell us, DTO is obviously a name. It's obviously you go by that, but it's Dave the Organism. Why are you Dave the Organism?
I am Dave the Organism. I declare. I had an aha moment in my life. First time taking psilocybin, magic mushrooms. 2009, same year I did Burning Man, first year. And it was one of these experiences where I really went inward and I felt connected to the earth. I was on a trail run. It was one of those moments I saw an eagle. I saw a rattlesnake.
Wow.
And
where were you?
I was in San Diego and I was out there and I had this moment where I felt like the movie Avatar, when you're like, whoa, I'm an organism. The eagle's an organism. The snake's an organism. Oh, that tree's an organism. And then I started telling my friends about my first psychedelic journey. And I shared with them like, oh, we're all these organisms. And you're an organism. They're like, okay, we got the whole organism thing. You're now Dave the Organism.
Right, the organism named Dave.
Exactly.
I'm the human named Matthew.
Absolutely.
I get it. This is where yeah, I get it.
Hence the logo.
Also psychedelic.
The
I love your
DTO.
logo.
It has some
Little
sacred
flower of
geometry in it.
life, little flower of life vibes up in it.
Yeah.
Super beautiful, brother.
Yes, that's the backstory.
Yeah, the DTO. Now you know. Now you know. So we spent yesterday getting rickshawed around Atenas,
Yes.
which is where you live now. You're the Embody Retreat and Wellness Center, which we'll get into. But thank you. That was super fun.
Yes.
What inspired you to get a rickshaw?
Well,
Auto rickshaw.
auto rickshaw, yes. So my beloved Himalaya, her lineage being from India, it was one of her dreams to have her own rickshaw driver. And so
Really?
Sherry Howard, amazing
wanted
artist. She had the rickshaw. She had the tuk-tuk, as they call it in Costa Rica.
Tuk-tuk.
And she was living on the coasts. And there's not really a lot of rickshaws in the central valley of Costa Rica. And so we got to
yeah, you're right.
adopt and acquire this beautiful
Awesome.
machine that we get to drive around town.
It was amazing. You took us like all around, gave us the Atenas tour. I
Yes.
really think you're like the ambassador, the potential gringo ambassador of
Yes,
Atenas.
sí, señor,
I'm
claro.
sure I'm not the only one to tell you this.
Mayor of
Alcalde. Yeah, bro.
algún
Alcalde
día
de Atenas. It would be great. DTO for mayor. And I just appreciate I remember you came down here. You guys were in Ecovia for a while. Before there, and I remember when you moved there, and I was like, oh man, they moved to Atenas. But I realize now that it's like you kind of expanded the community, really. Like you are one of our for me, you are a grounding point in Atenas. Like the party place, the ecstatic dances you guys do, the yoga.
Absolutely.
Yeah, super good, brother.
Yeah, appreciate that. Yeah, for people that don't know the geography of Costa Rica, we're in the Central Valley, and where we're at currently, in order to go to the capital, San Jose, you pass through Atenas.
Right.
So it's a really great stopping point to exit off the toll road. Yeah, we were loving the experience of being in Ecovia and the Alegría, Taco Hotel, all that you're creating. And we went through Atenas one day. We went to Almendra. It's a really cool
vegan
spot, and they have a container stores. We were living in Southern California for about 2 decades, And so we felt like, oh, it has like a hipster, but then it's culturally Costa Rica, and then it's closer to the airport, and we just felt a connection. And then we found a place, and we've been there for 3 years now.
And you, I remember you said you rented a house, and then there was land available.
Yes.
And whose vision was because your center, you have this giant, beautiful yoga and dance space.
Yes,
I mean, it's
yes.
beautiful. It's one of my
Thank
favorite
you.
places to dance.
Yeah, so we have a 2,000 square foot teak flooring, community center, yoga deck. And so Himalaya was on the land, and she was in deep meditation. She goes to her altar space every morning. And as renters, we were really connecting to the land. And she basically one day told me, she's like, hey, I think we're home. I think this is it. Like, let's bring this in. And so the day after, the prior owner came into the house just to drop something off, like a toaster and a ladder as well. And she was like, hey guys, I really love your energy. And if you're ever interested in purchasing this land, then let's talk about it. And it just worked out perfectly. She's like, any rent you've been paying could go directly into the sale of the house. And so we just felt like there's a divine alignment around it all.
Yeah.
We were like, okay, well, maybe we're supposed to be here. And we came into Costa Rica. I came here originally in 1997 as a college student, and then fast forward to 2020. And we were just proud renters. We just wanted to rent and check out the country. We went to Quepos.
But when did you come down?
In 2020.
2020, right?
Yeah.
During COVID.
Yeah, we did. Right when
You
they
were
opened
like-
the borders, we were like,
I'm out.
made a run for it. People are always like, what'd you think about what was happening in the world? I was like, I'm not going to tell you. I'm going to show you what I think. I want, and I choose and declare pura vida as my lifestyle.
And so but you said you were there early, like 1997. So
Yes.
you kind of knew what the vibe was.
And I used to come back and forth because I was a world language teacher. So I taught high school Spanish.
And
So every chapter I talked about Costa Rica, the best way besides just saying Bueller, open up the page, 1800. Yeah, it was more of a, hey, check these awesome photos out. This was my experience as a college student. And they were like, I want to go, profe, take me to Costa Rica.
Excellent.
So I found a tour company. It's called EF Educational Tours. And so I used to bring students, and we'd have a buseta, like a van, and we'd go all over the country, the cloud forest, go to the beaches, zip lining, whitewater rafting. So I was just every time, and most people that know Costa Rica, you're either Costa Rica curious right now, or you're Costa Rica crazy, where we just love the offerings of this nation. It's so that I just fell in love with it over the years. I've been coming back and forth, but for us moving here, and you've 17 years?
17, yeah. I've been coming for 17. I went to Punta Mona and came. Then this area was the river was what sold me. I mean, I was like, that's the one thing about Atenas.
Well,
is like you're a little far from the river.
Because when Himalaya and I got married here in 2021, and our rite of passage afterwards is we both jumped in the river together. So it's a very special
You
river.
got married right here?
Uh-huh.
Where?
Ecovilla.
You got married in Ecovilla?
We did.
Stephen and Sarah got married there. As so many beautiful people get there.
Really good.
So, and we have to talk. Yeah, we have to have Himalaya on the show another
she's
time.
nuts.
She's like in her own right, badass, like
yeah,
bodacious
both
lady.
of us attempting to share the microphone. It'd be
No,
like
no,
a
it would
3-hour
be
podcast.
it would be crazy. I know.
Yeah, and we rocked this stage at New Year's Eve.
We did. I know. I was thinking about that. So yeah, you guys played our monkey medicine, and so you're like most people probably know you as for your music production.
Absolutely, yeah.
I mean, locally we know you for the body, but like you've built your kind of fan base through music production on Spotify. You have a big following on Spotify. I saw like more than 10,000 listeners a month. Like that's pretty significant.
Well, I happen to have this one song called Breath that then also has a version called Breathe.
Hey,
and
I have a
those
song called Breathe, bro.
I know we do. That's right. Parallel worlds.
Organisms and humans.
Humano
breathing.
organismo.
Okay.
Yeah. And so that song, as well as the Breathe combined on Spotify, have over 5 million streams. So that song just started to get playlisted. And I did a whole album. This is the one that has 7 songs for 7 chakras, 7 beautiful ladies. Guess who the heart chakra is?
Oh, it's
There she is.
Himalaya.
Yes.
It's your wife.
Totally. So
Was she your wife when you did it?
No, but I put her through a test, which is, hey, do you want to rap in Sanskrit and become a singer and have your father play tabla and make a music video and do a tour?
She's like, I will marry you right now.
So you don't know
Right
someone
now.
until you've done a van life tour in 2018. We went to 26 different states, went up to Canada.
Yeah, baby.
And then we just went on the road, went to different yoga studios. And Himalaya is known for her Bollywood dance videos. 2 decades ago, she did this.
Yeah.
Remember France? Yeah, she knows her because of Valerie.
Yeah. Valerie was saying yesterday that she watched her 20 years ago or something.
On the Ellen show.
I'm still learning all these things. Like Himalaya was an Ellen, and she was on my stage.
What?
Teaching dance. No, that's what I love about our community. It's like we have all these crazy characters, a cast of characters. You never know. That's why I love this podcast too, because I get to talk to people and find out their stories. Like I didn't know till yesterday. You said that your first album, Nameless Energy.
Yeah, that got endorsed by Deepak Chopra.
Right.
Which totally created a quantum leap. Okay, now I started to travel internationally a lot more often, festivals, and also nowadays, we get to have this access to a global audience. And it's pretty amazing what we can do through that.
Totally. And it's been, for me, it's been mixed. I miss the one-on-one and building it up organically, but also the access. You're right. Yeah. You and I have talked about this a lot too, because you have a marketing company for musicians. You help musicians get their stuff out on Instagram and whatever. But what really got you into what got you into music in the first place? I mean, you were, I understand, we all love music, and many people start off with, something in music, but what got, and then specifically yoga music.
Yeah.
Because that's kind of a specific genre. Were you a yogi?
No.
First, or a musician?
Not originally.
First?
Although I was told by Sonia yesterday that October 2nd, my birthday, is the same day that Gandhi was the same date. Right. So, I didn't know much about India at all.
Are you comparing yourself to Gandhi?
No, I'm saying I didn't know much about. I'm saying I didn't know anything about yoga. I didn't know anything about India except through the movie Gandhi on HBO.
Okay, that makes sense.
I'm a small town kid from Iowa, so I knew of Yoda. That was the closest word, but I didn't know about yoga.
Adida, Yoda, and Adida are I don't know if you've ever seen Adida? This guy who's he lived on Kauai. He was a yogi, and I'm pretty sure they made Yoda after Adida. But anyways.
Oh, interesting.
Separate.
The gurus, the Buddhas,
I'll show you a picture. You'll be like,
okay.
Anyway.
Well,
yeah. So
I didn't know much about it. So I'm just saying, how did a small town kid from the cornfields of Iowa,
just a small town boy, living in a yoga world? This is gonna be your theme song, bro.
Amazing.
Don't sue us, John Cougar.
Yes. Yeah. We knew him as a Mellencamp. Yes. And so, I feel that the way I got into it all, my big aha moment to become DTO, because my backstory, of course, is I was classically trained on piano. I chose a mother, I like to frame it, that is a musician. She loves musical theater.
Oh, your
She's
mom?
a piano teacher.
Oh, cool.
She's a vocal coach. So I grew up in a whole family. Literally, I've probably listened to hundreds of thousands of scales being played in the house in vocal warm. I was da 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 da. So my whole
your mom
experience,
taught, or
we had an upright piano in the house. She taught home lessons.
Oh, cool.
And then she also taught a college course called Music Appreciation that I took.
Amazing.
Yeah, you take.
Where?
It was at a community college,
Okay.
small town in Muscatine, Iowa. Where are my Muskies at?
Muscatine, what up?
Shout out.
Shout out Muscatine.
Yes.
What's their
a muskie?
The Muskies?
Yeah.
The Muscatine Muskies. Because the Muscatine kind of sounds like it could be that in and of itself.
Yes.
We're the Muscatines.
Yes. The only town in the world named Muscatine.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. I go back to my class reunion, so I definitely love where I'm from. I'm rooted.
You're proud. Yeah,
proud, yeah.
I know
Midwest
you're
is
proud
best.
to be an Iowa boy.
I am.
The cornfields of Iowa.
Old school. I had a paper route, worked in the cornfields, had a paper route, all that. Old school stuff. Even weighted tables, things that you do. And I shoveled lots of snow. So this is why we deserve to live in the tropics, because
yes,
we earned it.
I also shoveled snow, brother.
Yes.
I also shoveled snow.
Well, the first concert I ever went to, talking music, I was 10 years old, and we went and saw Huey Lewis and the News.
That was my number one musical inspiration. I think we talked about this on your podcast.
Total. And guess what? That was at a place in Cedar Rapids, Iowa. They call it, talk about the weather, the 5-season center, because the weather's so brutal in Iowa that they just are like, what's this season?
There's something
What's the
worse than
5th
winter.
season? Yeah, there's like
There's something
slush,
worse than
sleet,
winter.
just crud. The roads are just, slippery as can be. There's all of that. That's like when you're, but also guess what
Damn.
music is for me? That's why I love growing up in Iowa personally, is those winter months you go indoors, and guess what we had in the garage? I bought a drum set. So my first love is piano. Then my brother also was trained on piano.
Oh.
So then we had a band called the Kempsters, because my last name's Kemp, and we used to play at
Kempsters.
basketball games. You know how like the cheerleaders would come out and do a
Yeah.
cheer? So we would switch off with the cheerleaders. We would play,
You and your brother?
yeah, we would.
Just the
he
two of
would
you?
play the synth, and I would rock out on the drums. And
That's so cool.
yeah, we would just do like dun 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 dun
You
dun
did.
dun dun dun. Like, but it's basketball. It's like pepping up the crowd.
The pep band. Yeah, we
Pep
called
band.
it pep band.
Yeah, we had the actual official pep band, but we were like, when the pep band couldn't make it, my brother and I, as
rock
the
and roll
Kempsters,
pep.
yeah,
The Kempsters.
that was my first gig out in public.
Dude, that is so cool.
right?
That's really cool. And it's cool you and your brother are close like that then. That's a bond.
Definitely,
Yeah.
yeah. And he played trumpet for many years. Actually played in the Army band, which
Oh.
is interesting path to take. And so,
Good.
so he saw it as a job. So he doesn't play as often now. Where from you,
Oh.
I took a time off. Did you ever take a time off from music?
I
You've just
have
going
been recently.
Okay.
Yeah, for the last 4 years, pretty much.
Yeah. So any creative soul artist out there, sometimes it's good to take a little break. And when I did that in my life, when I came back, I really realized I was moving forward into a new artistry flow for me. And I started around that time to practice yoga. Dear, amazing soul sister friend, Dr. Tara Peterson, she moved from DC all the way to San Diego to get and teach with Tim Miller. He's like the first guy that's been blessed by, Mother India to teach Ashtanga in the West. And so I was like, wow, blew my mind. Like someone's moving across the entire country to practice Ashtanga, to get into a form of yoga. And what I loved about the inspiration I got was the commitment and the consistency of like waking up, having your practice. And so I started to practice on my own. And it just, I lived in Encinitas, California. And guess what? That's where Yogananda, we were just talking about.
Swami's Beach.
Yep. So all of
Yeah,
that
so then
self-realization center.
and Encinitas, like you said, is like Yogananda kind of set up a center there,
Yep,
right? The
Self-Realization
Self-Realization
Center.
Fellowship. They have a whole beach named Swami's Beach, which was kind of like their
gorgeous spot
one of their
in the world.
centers. Yeah.
And so I was in Encinitas, California, and again I moved from Iowa, and I saw these people carrying around these rolls on their shoulders or on their back, and I was like, why are all these people that have these rolls of like a mat or something, why are they so happy? They seemed like they were just upbeat. I felt like a different energy, and I realized, oh, those are yoga mats. And then that's when I started learning about yoga. Again,
So you associated
I didn't know much
happiness with yoga.
There's almost like, hey, what's going on? And of course, you're like Southern California, it's a good energy. But at first, it was like, okay, it seems like it's a place I just kind of, electromagnetically connected with that world. Some people say, like, we didn't choose music, music chose us. I didn't choose this path of.
Totally.
So that from there, it was the aha moment. I went to a festival and I had a moment where I recognized that music, Dharma Mitra is the gentleman, he's Brazilian. He has a yoga studio in New York. He's the guy that can like stand on his head, and he's like 80 years old. It's amazing. So it was the first time I was practicing yoga where in the practice there were live instruments, because people play playlists and other ways of
Like
getting music.
live music.
It was a festival that had live music, and for me it was this aha moment where I, as the student on the mat receiving that energy, it was like we were doing this collective Om, and I just felt this like aha moment where I was like, oh wait, at the moment it was like, I've had like 3 decades of being a musician, 3 years of practicing yoga, and it felt like this intersection started to happen in my life. And let's face it, sometimes when you're in a yoga practice yourself, the music can really inspire you to open up or to breathe deeper or whatever it is. So I just recognized that that's what I wanted to do, and I made it happen.
So your music is, when you say yoga music, is it specifically like designed around a vinyasa, like a flow?
So my debut album, Nameless Energy, that's the one that I had a goal, because I would take these yoga classes and I'd hear a full hour of music. And a lot of times the instructors, they were focused on giving the cues and the guides. Maybe last minute they threw together a yoga playlist.
Right.
And so sometimes the music didn't work.
Doesn't always line up with
Sometimes it does
where
work,
you're
yeah.
at in the flow, right?
And it actually, sometimes the moments where it didn't work inspired me to be like, ooh, I can do that even better. I want to create a Shavasana song. Like my Shavasana song is called Bursting Stars.
Mhm.
So that's something I created based on knowing that I wanted to hear that style of music when I was in corpse pose. It's the last pose in a yoga practice.
Mhm.
So then I designed a whole album that you can listen to from start to end. And it's like a sine wave. It has an arc. It
Yep.
goes from a valley to a mountain, then it ends. So musically, that was my project. This is why it was a 5-year project, like a lifetime in the making,
Yeah.
because it took a lot, not only what kind of music, but then where to place it.
And did you also get in, like, learned how to produce? Like,
Yeah. So prior to that, I
using
had an
the-
amazing mentor, the buddy of mine back in San Diego. He's originally from Boston. His name was JQ. And Johnny Quest basically taught me Reason first, which is a digital audio workstation. If you don't know what that is, it's a way that people are creating music in the world on software on their
Yep.
computers.
Mhm.
So of course, the old days, Abbey Road, the Beatles, it was all like tape, analog.
Yep.
Everything now, everything you listen to is pretty much made in those technologies. And it was really empowering because I can create music here on this desk right now,
On this computer.
or on a plane, on a train in Costa Rica, and wherever, and it was amazing. Then I jumped into Ableton, which I've been on for 15 years, and it was such a great opportunity. And of course, Logic, Pro Tools, they're great. If you get to my house in a Hyundai, Toyota, or a Honda, I'm not going to make a fuss.
Yeah.
It's just focus on the destination of like what it is, the experience, and just know that whatever you choose to do. And I realized that being able to produce my own music is really great. Like knowing how to record, and that's what I think is really exciting nowadays is my recording studio that I just gave you a tour of yesterday.
I know. Every time I come there, I see one. There's like I was just saying, like, every time I go to Embody, like, there's a whole, like, upgrade.
Expansion.
There's some new room. There's some new thing. The recording studio is one step further ahead.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
you have your ISO
open
booth
for business now.
Yeah.
We got the whole proper ISO booth. It's all vocal.
So you're producing music out of the studio?
I do a little bit of both. I think a lot of producers and a lot of artists recognize the last 3 or 4 years, beginning in 2020, we got to like create our own home studios, and we had to like realize, we can do whatever we want when we choose. So I would say right now, maybe 25% of my music is being done outside of the studio, and about 75% I'm actually in the studio because, you just set up a ecosystem. It's like a sacred studio space. My favorite quote around creating and composing music is by John Lennon, where he said he didn't write one song, he allowed the song to write itself. So I feel as these humanos, organismos, it's an artistic journey to breathe, be patient, and allow for whatever it is to come in.
And you do a lot of collaborations. I know you do. Like, who's like what's your latest collaboration? And is there anybody you'd like to collaborate with?
Hey, let me I mean, I'll just shoot up there. Like Sade would be like the most extraordinary voice on planet Earth to be able to be like, hey,
DTO.
can I like do a reimagined mix of, one
Lovers
of those
Rock.
Lovers Rock?
Yeah.
That one for sure. It'd be a classic, something fresh out of the oven. Yeah, she does it decade per decade. I saw her live once, and that was like so powerful. So just people that are so talented and surround themselves with such talented artists and musicians that are part of like the vision, and that's what I really enjoy is collaborating with people that see the bigger vision, which is my tagline is it's a part of Buddha Music Group as well as raising the vibrations of the planet through art and music.
Yeah.
So you recognizing that art and music has been, will be, always has this potential to open up people's minds, their consciousness, open their hearts. And one song can, make someone cry. One song, like when I saw Nirvana live when I was in college, one song could be like mosh pit. You can inspire you to go for it. So that's the power of what we get to create, right? And that's why we have our professional recording studio at Embody. And it's beyond music. Like some people want to record guided meditations, record podcasts.
So basically you're open for business at Embody for recording. Any of your recording needs, this is your guy in Atenas. Come check him out.
Yes.
So cool. Well, that's excellent. And what else? You guys have any ecstatic dances coming up, or?
We do, yeah.
Do you guys do a monthly? You were doing it with DJ Shay.
Yeah, DJ Shay's brought the heat. Oh my gosh, she's amazing. And Shannon also does a restorative yin yoga class, like an evening at 5:30. So we have, as you said, the people that are in this part of the world are so talented.
We have a great community.
Yeah, and hidden gems. So we have the way we, share about ecstatic dances, yoga meditations is we do have, of course, our website, but we have a WhatsApp group. The ongoing joke in Costa Rica is, how many WhatsApp groups does it take to get to the center of the universe?
I'm in a million WhatsApp groups. It's true.
Exactly. Yeah. So we love to create events, experiences. And I feel, what Himalaya offers is, ancient wisdom for modern day insanity. And like, how do we come to a community place? How do we do it with intention and connection? And, I even do Super Bowl parties,
Yeah,
so
we
it's
had a
like,
Super Bowl party. It was super fun. Was it Usher was with the halftime show?
Yes.
We had like the whole like crew, all the locals.
so much
And
fun. So much.
It's fun. One thing I like about Atenas is there's a big like African American Black expat community,
Mhm.
which is nice, man, because like it's just more like a different flavor of.
That's what I
of
love about Costa
culture.
Rica. There's so many different cultures
All
and,
the
and
little-
people and languages. It's so cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I tend to feel like we all connect at some point, and then we recognize, like, okay, these are the people that we want to be a part of in this community, which is awesome because that's what you're about. It's like creating community, people coming together, people, deleting old programs or taking what worked, making it better, what doesn't work.
Yeah, and I mean, that's one of the things I love about this area in general is just like the international hub of like all the different cultures I get to see, all the different cultures I meet, like from South America, from Europe, like Russia, Venezuela. No, I mean all over every country in South America and
Totally.
Latin America, all of Europe, all of like Asia, like
Yeah.
even
A lot of Canadians.
yeah, but it's also nice, like my American brothers
Mhm.
and like I said, like the Black culture, like we it's more of what I grew up with, and like
Mhm.
just it's something. It's cozy, and also I'm also learning and always I don't know. It's just something.
Tennessee, baby.
Tennessee, baby, you know it. Hey.
Totally. No, it's great. And I feel too, Costa Rica is a country where once you connect and you feel the community, whatever that means for you. I mean, I define community, what we do at Embody is the local community is number one, because that's where we are. And then number two is like those people that are wanting to grow, expand, as you're sharing what we've been expanding, then it's a great opportunity. And we have different hubs of places and spaces. And that's what, Taco Tal is here. And yeah, it's so amazing that we can all be in connection.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. And so, what do you have any like main influences you'd like to like shout out here?
I definitely feel. I mean, my go-to band, like all-time band, is Van Halen. That's totally who I gravitate towards, like Eddie Van Halen and Alex, Michael Anthony, David Ross, Sammy Hagar. I actually get an opportunity. Sammy Hagar is going to be in Tennessee, in Nashville.
What?
In August.
No.
Yeah.
You're going to go meet him?
28.
You're going to go hang out with him?
I'd love to collab with Sammy. He's 75 years old. He's still at it. Yeah.
Wow, yeah.
But that inspired me. I'll tell
Not
you.
a David Lee Roth guy?
No, I'm both. I'm a ambidextrous. I'm a hybrid. So Van Halen, why that's important to me is because when I was playing the piano, sometimes as a boy in Iowa, you got made fun of, like, pianos for girls, what are you doing a recital for, and all that. So then when Eddie Van Halen came in with Jump, he's playing the keys and the synthesizer and the music videos, 1984, one of the best albums ever. It was like, whoa, the synthesizer and the keys and piano are cool. So he was my breakthrough for going from like nerd to like, oh, I'm cool now because I played the piano, but then I also played the drums. So that's what I like about the inspiration of how, and also like technology, like all of a sudden, besides just electric guitar, bass, drums, vocals, you can bring in electronic flavors to music. So that
you do that well. That's like a good thing. You really mix up the I mean, obviously, like being an electronic producer, having synth and bringing that in. What's your latest? I asked you before. We never talked. What's your latest thing? What do you got going on?
Is a great collaborator.
Deepak, the fiddle player. From
he's
Southern
amazing.
Southern Cali,
LA. And we just did a track called Over the Ocean, which I originally created in 2014, and it came out in 2024. It took a decade. Good things come.
Wait, what?
Yeah, it was one of those songs. So this is actually a nice little timeline to share about. It's where when I had my big aha moment around, whoa, I want to create music for yoga. Prior to that, I was working with a house producer, Grammy-nominated Stonebridge, and I was learning like house music and upbeat dance music. And so I was starting to gravitate in that world. And then once I got on my yoga mat And I had this deeper connection to the possibility of generating, creating, what my expression of a soundtrack is for yoga and meditation. Then all the house music, all of that got shelved and in the archives. So I repurposed that track that was in the archives and I brought it to life. And
you sent it to Deepak and you're like, let's
cut
do
some
this.
vocals, let's do that, and then freshen it up. I mean, 10 years of electronic music production, there's so many more plugins and add-ons and
And this was like a full collaboration where you created a track and you're like, here, create something around it.
Yeah, well, I dusted it off first of all, and I just juiced it up with like modern sounds. And I actually had my buddy from Nashville, he lives there, he went to Belmont, buddy Josh Bennett, I grew up with him playing music. We used to do like Battle of the Bands in high school and all cool stuff like that.
So you've been playing
I've been playing music my whole life.
Like you and your brother weren't just pet band. You were
it evolved into
a
like
local
being
band.
like the kids in high school that played at a school dance, like
bar mitzvahs.
Bar mitzvahs. Yeah, we'll play anything. Exactly.
Sorority parties.
Totally. And so yeah, for us, just being able to be wild kids in Iowa, and we didn't have social media. We couldn't just zone out on a screen. When you were bored or you needed to do something at the event, you'd be like, hey, let's just go rock out and play at your place. My parents were saints to allow us to play and be so freaking rowdy.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think if you're having a musical family, like having that's some more understanding. Like,
but we were just beating the heck out of the drums and the guitar. Guitarist likes to turn up. Never tell electric guitarist to turn down.
I know.
That's a golden.
Someone told me that the other day, and I was at the.
You gave him the look, right? That guitarist,
like.
I know that guitarist look.
Yeah. Well, it was pretty loud.
Yeah.
I mean, it was pretty loud. So actually, I went over to the amp and I realized somebody at some point turned my amp up to 10, and it was it was supposed to be at about 5.
I thought yours goes up to 11 though, right?
Mine goes up to 11, baby. So you were doing that, and now Deepak's your latest.
Yeah, I got Mattia Kali. I did this really awesome song, "Taking the Light." Working on a project right now with Ruby Chase. She's gonna be flying.
I love Ruby Chase.
Yeah, big shout out to Ruby. We've been working on this song. That was one that was in the archives, and now it's gonna be dusted off. Like 5 years ago, we started a project. So. You just stay committed. I work well because I was a school teacher with like spreadsheets. Like I have all of my music, all the projects, all the collaborators, and collaboration is my love language. And so as this album demonstrates with all the
hot ladies, the beautiful ladies.
Global artists from.
I was like, I always thought it was all these beautiful ladies on the back of it. Yeah, who is on this? We have Ann Tyler and Kiyoshi, Sita Rose, Sabrina Sapal, Himalaya, Tamara Rodriguez. Oh, so these are them?
These are all the singers. And so this was one of the best nights of my life as an artist. Wait a minute.
They're all very talented and beautiful women?
Sometimes you can magnetize all the magic.
Your life is great.
I don't complain. Because no one believes me, that's why. I attempted to complain when I was like, come on. You live in Costa Rica.
Get canceled. I think I'm about to get canceled.
I think we're going to get like viral.
Viral. No, but
positive way.
It's true. So that's really impressive. Like all these women are actually the singers that were on the tracks, and you got them all together for this photo shoot.
And guess what? 4 of these beautiful ladies are yoga instructors. So it was about creating music based on the 7 chakras and the energy centers, because it's all about that base, right? So you got the root chakra. And so the big breakthrough that happened for me, and this is why on the album you can see the different colors of the chakras, is, music, if you're in your car, you have the lows, the mids, and the highs.
Right.
You only have 3 basic options.
Right. And the root being the lows, obviously. That's
absolutely.
where you feel it in your like groins. That's why all these young kids are like, give me the function ones. And then we just
bass music. Bass music's taking over the spiritual conscious community.
They want. It's like all they're getting off on.
But it has the ethereal, beautiful experiences as well. So that's what I've started dabbling in, is like from root to crown chakra. Like how is it that the frequencies, the sounds, and then that also allows for an instrument. So if I have a song and I'm like, ooh, I'm not feeling the heart chakra, maybe I'd reach out to a cello player. Be like, hey, can you play those notes and those frequencies? Then when you add that cello to the mix, now when you're listening back, you get to hear and experience a whole and complete soundtrack. Because sometimes we listen to music or we're in the middle of a project and you're like, oh, what's it requiring? What's it need? And so when my breakthrough was studying about the 7 chakras of like, oh, I can actually go into these energies and then literally musically, boy, talk like Mickey Mouse like we were doing before. Like you have all these frequencies and ranges. So I feel the powerful part about electronic music production is you become the commander of sound waves, and then you can manipulate sounds, you can shift them, and then you can say like, well, how much of a third eye or throat chakra how much of that do I want to put into the song? That's like, it's my recipe for, it's like, how do you make a great smoothie today?
So you're putting this kind of music, like
the ingredients.
You're incorporating the chakras, and frequency into your production.
Yeah, it was, and it made me on a macro level just back out.
That's it. That's the secret.
There it is, right there.
You want 10,000 Spotify? You want 10,000 a month on Spotify? Get clear with your chakras, bro.
Yes. If it's aligned with your chakras, then cleanse them. And by the way, during the pandemic, I was more of, before that, I was a little more, not full on rage or sage, but I went from rage against the machine to sage against the machine.
Rage or sage?
Which one are you more so? Do you sometimes want to rage against the machine, or do you want to sage? Because you're saging this morning.
No, I'm right in the middle, bro. Yeah, I mean, I get like too much woo woo, and I'm like,
true.
Too much aggro, and I'm like,
Yes.
But then I like to be somewhere in the middle and try and like be like, oh, sage in one hand, rage in the other.
Yeah. I love it. Yeah. So that's what we can do as artists, musicians, right? If you have something to sing about, and you did a great show at Embody, and you really had the audience interacting, engaged.
Yeah, that was fun. We did a solstice show with
Demir. Yes.
That was really great. We should do another one. That was solstice. We're still figuring out how to like
tap
it in. But it was. I remember I had a good time there. Doing acoustic stuff. Yeah, music has been. I'm starting slowly coming back into music. We did, and we also did a podcast. You have a podcast as well?
I do.
An interview show.
Yeah, 5Q interview. We go through 5 laser focused questions, and I've done that for you, and it was great.
Dude, you have so many, like, this is like every time, I'm always amazed talking to you, like, you have so many different, hats you wear. Like, you're the, not on top of him building a retreat center.
Yes.
Like, I'm always impressed. Marketing, school teacher, music producer. Mm-hmm. You're a jack of all trades, as I said at the beginning.
Gracias.
Where can people find your music? Where can people find? Oh, we're gonna do a Patreon, by the way. I think we should do a little piece on electronic music. Like let's talk about electronic music, but we'll do that in the extra. Where can people find your music? Where can people follow you? Where can people figure out Embody, all the epics of Embody?
DTOmusic.com, DTOmusic.com. And you can check us out at embodycostarica.com. It's on all the socials, all the places and spaces. And yeah, we'd love for all of you to connect if you align with any of the topics. The possibility is to come to our retreat center. If you are someone that is a facilitator that wants to guide teacher trainings, whatever kind of conferences, retreats we offer, and welcome everyone. It's fun to be a startup because grassroots, we can, invite people and get people to come to Pura Vida.
Excellent. Okay. Well, DTO, Dave the Organism.
Hermano.
Thank you, brother.
Yeah, you're welcome.
It's been a pleasure. And if people want to follow, you can just stick around for the Patreon, join our Patreon and get the little DTO extra. This is La Vida Verde podcast. I'm your host, Matthew Human, here at Finca Vida Verde. We release episodes every Tuesday. I want to shout out Ecoteas Yerba Mate. Thank you so much. And check out our Patreon, patreon.com/La Vida Verde podcast. We are on Instagram, Finca Vida Verde CR, on Facebook at Finca Vida Verde, and you can go to our website, fincavitaverde.com. We'll be back next Tuesday with another episode. Pura Vida.